Dear friend, you don't know it yet, but in just a moment, you're going to discover how a 28-year-old nobody used a series of Far East secrets to become the world's most iconic martial artist, amass the equivalent of a $55 million fortune, and leave a legacy that lives on almost 50 years later, all in just 4 short years. In this presentation, I'm going to reveal how you can use the same secrets Bruce Lee used to accomplish anything you want in life. If you always put limit on everything you do, physical or anything else, it will spread into your work and into your life. There are no limits. There are only plateaus, and you must not stay there. You must go beyond them. On November 27th, 1940, in the San Francisco Chinese Hospital, located in San Francisco's Chinatown, Lee Jun-fun was born. His birth was on a common enough occurrence, other than being under both the year and hour of the dragon, a fortuitous sign according to Chinese astrology. At 3 months old, Lee's parents took him and his siblings back to Hong Kong for his father's career as a Cantonese opera and film actor. While Lee grew up in a wealthy and privileged family, due to an influx of immigration out of communist China into Hong Kong, his neighborhood became overcrowded and violent. That's when he started learning martial arts, first from his father, then from other teachers. Lee Jun-fun is known in the Western world as Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee became such an amazing martial artist that he founded a martial arts style called Jeet Kune Do, meaning the way of the intercepting fist. To this day, almost 50 years after Lee's death, he is the best-known martial artist of all time, and hundreds of thousands of people still study his martial philosophy and style. The amazing thing is, a few short years before his death, Bruce Lee was a nobody. A 28-year-old unknown martial artist with no career, no acting resume, and no reason to believe he would ever do anything with his life. When he died, just a few years later, he was the world's best-known martial artist, had founded a style of martial arts that lives on to this day, was a film and TV star, built a legacy that has lasted over 45 years, and amassed an inflation-adjusted fortune of $55 million. And he did it in all just 4 years. The secrets Lee used to achieve his fabulous success and wealth, the secrets I'm calling the Bruce Lee Key, can do the same for you. If you apply them, they can deliver anything you want out of life. While Lee didn't discover the secrets, he was able to achieve so much because he studied and mastered what others had learned before him. And now you can use that exact same secrets to get anything you want out of life. Stick with me for a few minutes, and you'll see how the Bruce Lee Key can help you shape your life into anything you want to be. More money, more powerful relationships, a better job, a more brilliant mind, more sex, better health, more beautiful appearance. Anything you want, the Bruce Lee Key can deliver easily and quickly. Bruce Lee was rich and famous before he was 32 years old, but the truly amazing thing about Lee was the speed in which he accomplished so much. In 1968, at 28 years old, he wrote a letter to himself in which he detailed his plans for his future. He wrote, "I, Bruce Lee, will be the highest paid Oriental superstar in the United States. In return, I will give the most exciting performances and render the best quality in the capacity of an actor. Starting in 1970, I will achieve world fame, and from then onward till the end of 1980, will have in my possession $10 million. I will live the way I please and achieve inner harmony and happiness." To put this into context, $10 million, which Lee had amassed just 4 years later, is worth over $55 million today. That's quite a fortune to accumulate in just 4 short years. Still, Bruce Lee did it, as well as becoming the most revered and remembered martial artist in history. Arguably, Chuck Norris is a close second, but Bruce Lee is undoubtedly the most well-known and well-loved martial artist in the history of the world. The question is, how could someone go from a 28-year-old nobody to one of the most influential people of the 20th century in just 4 years? And how can you achieve similar accomplishments in your life? Even if you aren't a martial artist and don't want to be, the Bruce Lee key can help you achieve amazing success in any and all areas of your life. Lee once said, "Knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do." He is 100% correct. That doesn't seem to be rocket science, but it does reveal something about Bruce Lee's philosophy which is interesting. You see, this idea isn't just something Lee came up with out of nowhere. This idea is very Buddhist in nature. In truth, when we look at Bruce Lee's philosophy, we can see that he was unquestionably influenced by Buddhist philosophy. However, I know that there's more to the story. When I look at what he said and what he did, I can see that he had access to in-depth understanding and knowledge that until now, very few people could access. I'll explain in just a moment how I know it. But for now, I'm going to ask you to trust me when I say Bruce Lee had access to little-known and powerful Buddhist secrets of manifestation. Sure, after decades of studying Buddhism, someone might be able to figure out the secrets that Bruce Lee knew and used to create such amazing wealth and legacy. But until now, these secrets have never been distilled down and published for the whole world to see and understand. Hi, my name is Mike O'Neill. And over the next few minutes, I want to share with you some of the amazingly powerful and little-known insights of Buddhist masters that have been passed down for centuries. Applied in today's modern world, these secrets can deliver anything you want into your life. First, let me deal with something. People assume that Buddhists all live in poverty. But when you travel to Buddhist monasteries all over the world, you find Buddhist monks oftentimes have some of the most luxurious and expensive lifestyles in their region. But how can that be true when Buddha taught to give up all desire? Let me ask you, isn't the desire not to have desire a desire? Also, believe it or not, Buddhism is not a religion. Buddha is not a god, and no one worships him. Buddhism, rather, is a set of philosophical practices that can be applied and integrated very well with virtually every religion or philosophical system. My point is this: there's a lot of misunderstanding about Buddhism and Buddhist belief in the West. In order to help counter this misunderstanding and bring the beauty and power of Buddhist manifestation philosophy to the West, I've distilled down the philosophy and practices to a set of 9 guidelines which can deliver to you anything you want out of life. No need for years of study, no need for hours of meditation. Just a few simple rules and guidelines to follow, and your life will miraculously start to change. I'll share the rules with you in just a few moments, but first, put aside what you think you know about Buddhist philosophy and let me give you some first-hand ideas and understanding about how powerful these philosophies can be. I can make the claim that these little-known Buddhist understandings can deliver anything you want out of life with the same confidence that I know the sun will come up in the morning. These secrets have worked for almost 2,500 years, delivering anything and everything their practitioners want out of life. And because they are so powerful and predictable, the secrets have been kept under very tight lock and key. I know that's a big claim. If you're willing to stick with me for a few short minutes, I'll prove to you that everything I'm saying is true and correct, and your life will be forever changed for the better. I'll explain how you can put these powerful and predictable strategies and secrets to work in your life. But first, I should explain how I found them at the Twin Dragon Temple in Thailand. I was the last person anyone would have ever expected to end up studying Buddhism under a bunch of Tibetan monks. Truthfully, had you known me 20 years ago, you would have laughed uproariously at the suggestion. My father died when I was young, which had a dramatic effect on my life. Even still, by all outside accounts, I was very successful. In high school, I was a star football player. I got good grades, not great, but good enough when combined with my football skill to get a full ride to a Midwestern university. I was on the fast track to a career as a top-flight sports trainer in the major leagues. I know I wasn't good enough to play football in the NFL, so I decided to be the best sports trainer the game had ever known. That is until one night after a frat party, a friend was driving me home when he passed out at the wheel. I was passed out in the passenger seat, so I had no clue what was happening. When I woke up the next day in the hospital, my friend was dead, and my football career was over. Without my scholarship, I couldn't pay for school. There was some financial aid available, but because my father had left me a modest sum of money, not near enough to pay for college, I didn't qualify. In truth, had I committed myself to finding a way to stay in college, I likely could have. However, after my accident, I fell into a deep depression. I didn't have the will or motivation to do anything. I couldn't handle any challenge. I just accepted my fate. I dropped out of school and gave up on life. Between depression, feeling a victim, and survivor's guilt, I didn't feel like I could do anything. As far as I was concerned, my life was over at 20. Looking back now, I realize how ridiculous that is. But as a young man who identified himself by my athletic and academic accomplishments, when those were taken away, it shattered my confidence. I started drinking and smoking pot every night. Looking back, I was trying to redefine myself based on partying. I knew it wasn't right. However, I didn't think I was worth anything else. I'm not gonna lie, there were some things about that life that, at the time, I thought were fun. Lots of girls who were open to all sorts of adventure, friends that were always ready to get drunk or high, and the circles I was running in allowed for some ways to make money, as long as you didn't get caught. The problem was, there was also a lot of horrible things about that life. Most of all, loneliness. Incredible, debilitating loneliness. Even when I was around all of my friends, I was lonely. No matter how many girls I spent my time with, I was lonely. No matter how many people I got high with, I was lonely. My life was a lonely and horrible mess. I had dropped out of a textbook life headed for success, and I had landed in a lonely, isolated life. A life in which I used drugs and alcohol to numb the incredible and deep guilt and pain and loneliness I lived with every day. 1 year turned into 2, then 4 and 5 years after the life-shattering accident. All that changed one day when my uncle came into town. My mother didn't know how to help me. I just sank deeper into depression and bad choices every day. On the other hand, my uncle knew what I needed. Tough love. When he saw me, he gasped. I showed up to my mother's house to see him as a mess, sloppy and unkept. I hadn't slept in 36 hours, and I smelled of old beer, cigarettes, and pot. He shook his head back and forth and said, "Mike, I can't believe you. You look like garbage. You need to get your life together, kid. Your father would be ashamed." I was furious. I called him a few choice names and stomped off, leaving to go drink more and find someone who could cheer me up. I never found anyone that night. Nor the next. Nor the next. You see, after I left my mother's house, I barely got to my car before I broke down. I knew what I was doing was wrong. I knew I wasn't living up to my father's memory. And more importantly, I knew I wasn't living up to my potential. That night, I didn't find anyone to make me feel better. For the first time in several years, I didn't run to alcohol or pot or the loser party friends I had been wasting my time with. Instead, I did something I learned from my father. I went to the library. He used to say to me, "Mike, the library is a temple of knowledge." He grew up before the internet and easy push-button access to worldwide information. He would tell me that when he needed to learn something, he would go sit in the library for hours, sometimes day after day, until he had figured everything out. It was in the county public library that my life was changed forever. I started reading about beating addiction. That led me to people who had changed their lives, from a down and out addict to a massive success. That's when I found a reference to Buddhism. It didn't mean much at first, but I couldn't get it out of my head. My mind grabbed onto the idea of Buddhism until finally I started reading about it. Like you, I had the same misconceptions about Buddhism. I thought it was a religion, and I had been raised as a Christian, so I wanted to ignore everything that had to do with Buddhism. Like you, I thought that it was some strange Eastern philosophy in which everyone wore robes, sat in temples, and ate one small meal a day. Like you, I thought Buddhists in America were strange, hippy-dippy people who wanted to forget about accomplishment and success and just meditate their way to bliss. Still, no matter how much I ignored and tried to forget about Buddhism, my mind kept wandering back. Finally, out of desperation, I started looking into the subject. I don't know why, out of all things I read about those first 2 days, I couldn't get my mind off Buddhism. Perhaps it was serendipity. Perhaps it was the will of God. Perhaps it is the same reason you found your way here. I don't know. What I do know is that for the next 3 days, I read everything the library had about Buddhism. I was fascinated. Not only did the philosophies make perfect sense to me, but I took particular notice to all the wildly successful people who were Buddhists and attributed a portion of their fame to it. People like Tiger Woods, Keanu Reeves, Katie Lang, Richard Gere, Uma Thurman, Orlando Bloom, Katie Hudson, Tina Turner, Oliver Stone, Kate Boswell, Russell Simmons, Leonard Cohen, Steven Seagal, Miranda Kerr, Herbie Hancock, Philip Glass, Steve Jobs. If that many people attribute their success to Buddhism, I know I had to experience it firsthand. I made up my mind. After those 3 days in the library, I had to go find out these secrets. I had to understand how men like Steve Jobs, Keanu Reeves, and Richard Gere had achieved their highest levels of their chosen careers, as well as accumulating massive wealth. I had to understand how a man like Tiger Woods was able to use Buddhist philosophy to rebuild his life and career after his fall from grace. I knew that I had to find out what these people believed and what they did. I was raised as a Midwestern conservative Christian, but it was clear to me that I had lost my way and needed something to get me back on track. And if what I read was true, following Buddhist philosophy wouldn't violate my religious upbringing at all because there was no gods to worship in Buddhism. It was just a series of teachings and philosophies that anyone could follow. I found a local Buddhist temple and started attending. Eventually, my studies surpassed the head of the local temple, and I decided I should find another place to study. Besides, what they taught seemed sanitized, not the same as the philosophy I had read about. The meditation was wonderful, but after 4 years of searching, I knew I wouldn't find what I was looking for in the US. So just like Steve Jobs, I saved enough money to travel to the East, applied for my passport, and off I went. But I didn't have any idea where to start my search. So I decided to start where it all began, in Nepal, where Gautama Buddha was born approximately 2,500 years ago. Nepal was a combination of beauty and dire poverty. The average Nepalese lives on just $3,652 per year, and 30% of the people live on less than $14 per month. That's less than $168 per year. Still, there is beautiful architecture, stunning temples, and the people are happy. Sincerely, honestly happy. Sure, they have problems like everyone around the world, but they also have peace of mind and happiness. Coming from the US, where we're rich beyond belief, the dichotomy confused me. How could people who were so poor, who lived in conditions that would barely be considered legal in the US, be so happy? It took me almost 5 years, but I found out how. That's right. For almost 5 years, I wandered Asia and northern India. From Nepal, I traveled to Tibet, then back to Nepal and into India. Then I went south through Bangladesh and Burma, and I finally ended my pilgrimage in Thailand. I had only planned on staying in the East a month or two, but once I got there, I couldn't leave. I knew I would find my answers here. And so, my 2-month max trip lasted 7 years. I worked on odd jobs for food and lodging. I did manual labor, taught the locals English, used my knowledge of sports medicine to help rehab people from accidents. I spent years learning to love other people and love myself again. Then, as if the timing had been preordained, I found myself on the steps of the Twin Dragon Temple in Thailand. I arrived in the Muyang Chiang Mai district in Thailand in the middle of the night. I was looking for the temple that I had heard so much about since entering Thailand. Because it was so late, when I found the Twin Dragon Temple, I simply stretched out on the steps. The last 5 years had been joyous, but they had not been problem-free. When I landed in Nepal, I was a young soft boy. After 5 years of traveling and working where I could, my face had aged. I always had some sort of facial hair, although I made a real attempt to keep shaven because of the social stigma of facial hair in some Asian countries. I was also leaner and more muscular, but not in the bodybuilding way. I was lanky, more like a laborer who ate what and when he could and had to force himself back to his laborious work every morning. I was also dirty. I had been on the road, walking most of the time, for several weeks. I had a bag with some clothes, and I washed whenever possible. But there was no washing machines or Tide soap in the areas I had just traveled through. Here in the shadow of the Twin Dragon Temple, I knew I would find many luxuries that are not available in rural Thailand. Please don't misunderstand. I was in need of a bath and a good meal, but I was happier than I'd ever been in my entire life. My life wasn't easy, but it was extraordinarily rewarding. After napping for a couple hours, and shortly before light started breaking across the sky, I heard sounds of life inside the temple. The monks were rising to start their daily devotionals and activities. One of them came out on the steps to see who this ragged-looking Westerner was sleeping on their stairs. I explained in the best broken Thai why I was there. Unfortunately, my Thai was horrible. Fortunately, there was a monk that spoke broken English. So between my broken Thai and his broken English, with a smattering of Mandarin and Nepalese I had picked up in my travels, we were able to communicate. I explained why I was there, that I had heard about the wisdom of the temple and that I had spent the last 5 years traveling, learning and growing. I explained that I wanted to study at the temple and understand the philosophies and wisdom that is taught in its walls. The monks almost turned me down. They explained that they would have turned me down because they see a lot of travelers and tourists, and most of them want a souvenir experience, something they can tell stories about. However, when they questioned me, they believed that I was a true seeker. They felt that if I was willing to fly halfway around the world on faith in search of wisdom, then I would likely take their teachings seriously. They accepted me into the temple to live as they do and learn as they learn. After studying at the temple for a little over 2 years, one of the monks called me into the library. My Thai had improved dramatically, and when I spoke, I understood him clearly. He told me that I earned the right to learn the most ancient secrets of the temple. However, he wanted to secure a promise from me before I started my study of the scrolls these secrets were recorded on. He made me promise to share the secrets with the world. I was a bit confused, so I clarified just to make sure. He didn't want me to keep this knowledge a secret. He wanted me to share it with everyone I could share it with. He confirmed, yes. He wanted me to promise that I would share the ancient knowledge on the scrolls with anyone and everyone who wanted to know it. He wanted me to carry this message to the West. The monks had never been able to because they don't understand Western culture. It seems odd to them, and so they don't know how to explain things in a context a normal Westerner will understand. He told me, "You know how to talk to Westerners because you are one. You also know and understand what we teach and live very deeply. That means you can share our teachings with the world. And Mike, the world needs what we have. Desperately." Well, obviously that's a translation of what he said, because he was talking in Thai, but you get the idea. I agreed, and he gave me access to a host of ancient scrolls written by former masters of the Twin Dragon Temple. Within these scrolls, I found the most amazing keys that unlocked and merged the material and spiritual worlds. No longer would I need to choose between spiritual satisfaction and material wealth. Suddenly, I understood how to get them both. There was no longer any need to choose between enlightenment and wealth. As I studied these scrolls, the most amazing things started to happen. I started to realize that the Western definition of success, meaning money and comfort, are just natural outgrowths of emotional and spiritual practices. I know that might seem odd or unbelievable considering how you were likely raised. I know it was mind-blowing for me. The minister of our little church back home, the church I was baptized in, and I attended every Sunday until I went away for college, would have thought the idea heresy. As I read, my mind shot back to the library all those years ago. Steve Jobs, Keanu Reeves, Richard Gere, Steven Seagal, Russell Simmons. I couldn't remember the whole list, but I knew it was full of people who had made hundreds of millions or billions of dollars and who had reached the top of their careers. Was it possible to be a spiritual person? A good person? A person who is doing good in the world and still be a person who makes millions of dollars and has a dream life? I thought of all the people I had met and tried to help over the last several years. The poor farmers who I'd helped harvest their meager crops by hand, the craftsmen who I helped tug and hold things while they applied their craft, the housewives for whom I had run errands and did heavy chores around their homes. I had done it all for some sort of compensation, not because I wanted to make money, but because I had to eat and have a place to sleep. That's when it hit me. What if instead of asking them for food and drink and shelter in exchange for my labor, what if I was able to help them just because I wanted to help them? Or what if I could pay people to do jobs for each other? The family who needs help gets work done, and the worker who helps the family gets paid and supports his household. That's when I came to understand what money is. It's energy, just like mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual energy. And when we lose sight of what money is and why it exists, we believe money is just a tool of greed. Being in good shape financially is no different than being in good shape physically, being thoughtful and well-educated mentally, being emotionally balanced and healthy, and being spiritually in tune with the world around you. When you are mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially well-adjusted and healthy, the world opens like an oyster and there's nothing but beauty and love in it. And that's exactly what the scrolls taught: how to get your life balanced and healthy. The secret wisdom I had traveled halfway around the world and devoted 7 years of my life was finally sitting in front of me, written out on scrolls that were hundreds or thousands of years old. I was in a Buddhist temple in the middle of Thailand staring at ancient scrolls which taught the keys to success in the modern-day Western world. I was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, until one of the monks said something so simple but so profound. I mentioned how amazed I was that the scrolls taught the secrets to success in the modern-day Western world, and he responded, "Energy is energy, always the same, 100 years ago or today." And there you have it. Success has always been the result of fostering and building your various forms of energy, then focusing and deploying that energy in specific ways. Always the same, 100 years ago or today. Within a few short months, I had mastered the scrolls and rewritten much of their wisdom in a way that would appeal to and be easy for a Westerner to understand. I shared my interpretations with other monks and set off about my mission, sharing this wisdom with the world. If there's something I know about people in the West, they want to see proof. So I started applying these secrets, and it took me just 6 years to build an online empire in the sports and fitness business. In the meantime, I met the woman of my dreams, bought a fabulous home on the ocean in Bali, and bought a ridiculous sports car. I leave the Twin Dragon Temple penniless and only in possession of the knowledge I carried. 6 years later, I'm at the peak of my success in my field, and I have a life that makes all the people who turned their backs on me after the accident painfully envious. And the amazing thing is, I just had to apply a few rules and guidelines to my life. As a matter of fact, there are only 9 simple rules, only 9 Eastern keys to Western success. I know it might seem hard to believe that 9 simple and easy to understand rules are the foundations of spiritual and material success, but they are. As a matter of fact, when I tell people these 9 secrets, sometimes they are let down, almost disappointed. The attitude seems to be, it can't be that easy, or I'd have done it already. Remember, I said these secrets were simple and easy to understand. I did not say that they were easy to implement and use. That takes a much deeper understanding of the secrets, how they apply to life, and how to use them to get what you want. The secrets are simple. Using them takes practice, work, and understanding, which is why I put together a downloadable book entitled The Eastern Keys to Western Success. In the book, I explain the underlying meaning of each key, exactly how to implement that key in your life, and how to know if you're using the keys correctly. If you are interested in pushing forward, I will share with you how to get a copy of the book. But first, I want to reveal the key to you. Remember, they're deceptively simple, but not easy. And some people even think they're anticlimactic. But like the ocean, which looks deceptively calm but teems with life and chaos under the surface, so do the keys appear simple and straightforward, but are teeming with life and potential, just waiting for you to unlock and release their power into your life. Key 1. The PALE method. We're constantly bombarded with too much information, too many choices. We simply are not built for so much information. It can stop you, depress you, make you feel heavy and overloaded. It can damage your health, your emotion and mental, and even physical energy. Oftentimes, less is better, as long as it's the right kind of less. With the PALE method, you'll know what to focus on and what to forget about. Life will be easier, more pleasant, and happier. Key 2. The law of requisite. Have you ever had that "stop the world, I want to get off" feeling? You wish the clock could stop ticking. You wish everything could just slow down or even stop for just a while. The law of requisite will make you virtually immune from those feelings. Key 3. The law of alignment. If you find yourself struggling to get closer to your goals, but no matter how hard you try, you feel like you never make any progress, the law of alignment will seem like magic to you. It'll take less than 2 months to see results. Key 4. The power of questions. Ask and you shall receive. This simple message explains how powerful questions are. Understand, Jesus wasn't talking about asking for a Lambo and he would drop it in your lap. He meant ask a question and you'll get an answer. If you ask, "Why me?" your mind will tell you because you deserve it. If you ask, "How can I have everything I want in life?" your mind will give you an answer. Ask and you shall receive. Once you grasp this key, the wisdom of heaven and earth are yours for the asking. Key 5. The law of identity. All of us are born with a different and unique identity, but we are oblivious about it and live in total ignorance to our true identity. This will be a major mental block that will stop you from achieving your fullest potential. So, do yourself a favor and stop lying to yourself. Once you master this key, your life will unfold with breathtaking and flawless ease. Key 6. The law of visualization. The 6th key is critical in achieving what you want. You want that yacht, a mansion, a wonderful partner, an amazing vacation at Europe? No problem. You will find the way to get whatever it is that you want through the power of visualization. Think of your subconscious mind as a captive audience for the movies we play in our head. You might think that visualization is pointless, hype, a waste of time. But I am confident that this principle will show you how to make imaginations turn real. Step by step, from thoughts to reality with proven visualization techniques. Everything I possess today began from this simple law. All manifestations began flowing into motion the moment I applied this law into my life. I will share with you all of my techniques and tools that can amplify your visualization skills 100 times more. With this law, you will find it easier to achieve your dreams, goals, and ambitions, only if you know how to do it properly. Key 7. The advanced affirmation. This is no "people like me" Saturday Night Live affirmation skit. This key is packed with centuries-old power about how to use the internal words to create yourself the same way God used his words to create the universe. Don't mistake the power of affirmations used in this ancient and powerful way. Key 8. The law of gratitude. This principle is something everyone knows of, but very few practice it. In fact, many of us take it for granted, even to those who are closest to us, our family. For many, gratitude is difficult because we aren't taught how to practice it. Even beyond depression, there are many ordinary circumstances in which gratitude doesn't come easily. However, the benefits of practicing gratitude are nearly endless. People who regularly practice gratitude by taking time to notice and reflect upon the things that they're thankful for experience more positive emotions, feel happier, feel more alive, sleep better, express more compassion and kindness, and even have a stronger immune system. Do you find yourself having difficulty showing appreciation and love? If you are, you're missing out on a lot in life. But where do you start? I will show you. Key 9. The law of reciprocation. Practicing this gives you untold and deep and satisfying benefits, both mentally and spiritually. Most important of all, this is a key principle that will bring you happiness and fulfillment. This principle will open doors to bigger opportunities for you to achieve greater heights. That's it. Those are the 9 keys. And while they might seem simple, applied to your life properly, they will deliver everything you want, almost like magic. The first question I always get when I talk about the Eastern Keys is, "These 9 keys don't seem that insightful. If it's this easy, why don't I have everything I want already?" It's a fair question, but demonstrates a misunderstanding of the Eastern Keys. You see, the keys don't just unlock what you want and drop it in your lap. What happens when you actively apply the keys is that they change who you are in order to attract what you want. It depends on what you want and how complicated a metamorphosis you need to go through. And in order for you to receive things that take more change, you have to keep your mind focused on the goal. Not every second of every day, but focused enough to make sure you keep changing and growing so you can attract your goal. You need to make sure you know what you want. Then, through the power you can unleash after you fully understand the Eastern Keys, you will attract what you want in life so quickly it may frighten you. It has shocked many of my students in the past. People like,
"I found my missing piece. The Eastern Secrets has given me clear instructions on what to do to improve every area of my life. I've suffered from major depression in recent years and lost myself in despair. But this program sparked something in me. I learned that I too can improve my life with just a snap of the finger with this amazing blueprint. Mike, I thank you so much for making this program available to all of us."
Hey, Mike, I just wanted to thank you for offering me such a great opportunity to learn the Eastern Secrets. After using these secrets in my life, my whole life changed forever. After struggling for many years, now I'm financially free. I'm happy in my life, traveling the world, and can do whatever I want. I can't thank you more, Mike. You changed my life.
were I to teach this program in a group setting, I wouldn't even consider allowing anyone into the seminar for less than $995, and more likely somewhere around $1,995. And I could easily make an online course available for somewhere between $295 to $495. However, I promised the monks in Thailand to make sure that everyone and anyone who wanted these powerful and ancient secrets could have access to them. I still need to pay for a website and advertising, etc. But in order to make sure everyone can discover the Eastern keys to Western success, I've made everything available for just $47. The most exciting thing is, the Eastern Keys to Western Success doesn't require years of work, or hours a day of meditation, or any special skills at all. It's simple. You go through the 9 keys which you'll have instant access to once you click the button below. You spend a week on each key, read the information about the key every day. At the end of each key, meditate for 5 or 10 minutes on that key. Simply use your imagination to see yourself mastering that key. It should take you about 10 to 15 minutes a day. At the end of each week, go to the next key. It's as simple as that. In 9 weeks, you'll be able to use the Eastern keys to manifest anything you want in your life. Here's the hard truth. If taking about 5 to 10 minutes to read a few pages and 5 minutes to imagine your way through a process is too much for you, you likely just need to learn to live with what you have and forget about all of your dreams. If you won't dedicate that little time and that little effort to foster the power within you so you can create anything you want in this life, you'll never have anything you desire. You probably don't even really want what you think you want. You certainly don't deserve more than what you have now. Right now, you need to ask yourself, do I want what I tell myself that I want? Will I make a decision and do what it takes to reach my goals? Or am I a worthless slug who is always talking and never doing? If you're still here, the answer is clear. Congratulations! When you click the button below and start applying the Eastern keys, I want to make sure you have everything you need to make massive changes right away. So I'm going to include the 10th key. While I cover the 9 Eastern keys to Western success in the main course, I did find a secret that was so powerful it came with a warning. The scroll said that this key was only useful when applied with others, but that when applied properly, it could times 10 whatever positive results you are already experiencing, be it in finance or personal connections. Bonus number 2, the Eastern Keys Action Plan. Practicing all the keys at once might be a little overwhelming, so I have created a step-by-step workbook to help students grasp everything and apply it in the most effective and quickest way. If you feel you might be a bit overwhelmed trying to apply something this powerful, this action plan guide will make it 5-year-old simple. Bonus number 3, the Lost Diary. To be frank, I had second thoughts about including this. I kept a private journal throughout my journey through the East, and it's a personal thing to me. However, my journal also captures the best essence as I was learning the mastery over self, and after reviewing it, I decided it's something that can help you too. I can't put a price tag on this one, but just know that if it was invaluable to me, then it's invaluable to you too. These will be available as long as I am able to keep them up. The publisher of the Eastern Keys to Western Success could decide to take them down whenever they want. However, as long as you get your copy today, you'll have a lifetime access to them. Are you living the life you deserve? Do you feel your life is the highest and best expression of who you are? If not, then come with me and we'll use the same keys monks have used for 2,500 years to change the world. The same techniques the most powerful and successful business, sports, and movie and TV industry stars have used to achieve their wealth and fame. The same keys Bruce Lee used to become the richest martial artist of his day and the most well-known martial artist in the history of the world. Let's use the Eastern Key to Western Success to improve our lives, improve the lives of those we love, and improve our world. Just click the button below and you'll receive the Eastern Keys to Western Success, along with the 10th key, the Eastern Keys Action Plan, and the Lost Diary. This program will change your life if you allow it. Just click the button below now. There's no need to wait or delay. Just click now and allow the Eastern Key to bring you Western success.